Frankie here at the ChampionsSoccerAcademy.com, where we help young football mad players to boost their confidence, accelerate their skills and improve their attitude so they can be happy and successful on and off the pitch. So happy New Year to you. Hope you had a great Christmas. We've been back in training at TCSA this week and we're raring to go for 2016. We've got some great games lined up against pro teams. So we're really excited. So this week, the video is going to be all about how to help players perform at their best or as close to their best as possible more consistently. So, we know what it's like. We all have those days where we wake up in the morning and we just feel good and everything seems to be going well, it seems to be going right. And then we have other days where, we wake up on the wrong side of bed. Certainly parents, a lot of parents I've spoken to can get frustrated watching their kids playing, knowing what they're capable of and scratching their heads wondering, well, why can't he play like this more often when he is playing well? And why? How come he's playing so badly when when he's not on form? And what is the missing link? One of the parents I spoke to in the past said, if I could just find that switch that switches him on, it'd be worth a lot, because when he's at his best, he can do it. He can do everything he needs to do on the pitch, but he's not able to do it consistently. So that's what this is all about today. We're going to be covering two main things that hold players back, and then we're going to be looking at three things you can do to get into the best state possible to be at your best. So the first kind of area that holds a player back is preparation. What are they doing physically? Are they getting to bed on time? A classic one for young players these days is sleepovers, where we all know they don't really sleep over. They just stay up all night and make menaces of themselves. It's not just the big things like that, it's subtle things as well. It can be just by going to bed half an hour or an hour later than would be best. So say 9, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock instead of 7, 8 o'clock. The night before a game and throughout the week. Are they getting all their kit ready? Are they feeling relaxed? Have they taken time to focus on the game in the days leading up to it? Same for training. Have they got all their kit ready? Are they arriving on time for training? Are they arriving in plenty of time for matches? Or are they rushing? Are they turning up late? So all of these things can be major factors in how a player is able to perform consistently. The next one is thinking patterns. Psychologists tell us that up to 90% of daily thinking patterns can be negative or unhelpful. So that is a massive one that can hold a player back. So it could be as big as, I don't even feel like going today, to I'm worried about certain aspects of the game. I know I'm going to be up against this team. Sometimes players worry if they don't know who they're going to be up against, they fear of the unknown. Other players, different players respond differently and think differently about different situations. So all of that adds up to the state that you're in when you play. So what you do with your body to prepare, the foods you eat, how you prepare, how you rest, how you train throughout the week, and then what you do internally, what you focus on, and how you think can have a massive impact as well. So the good news is all of those things can be controlled, and we can have a massive influence on the level of performance that players are able to achieve. So what we're talking about here is not necessarily adding anything to their game. We're talking about bringing the best out of themselves when they need to. So they've already been able to achieve a certain level of performance. Like we said earlier, some days they're on fire and other days it's like they've never played football. What we're talking about, they've already been able to reach a certain level of performance. How we help them reach that level of performance again and again and again, or as close as possible to that desired level of performance. So there's three areas we're going to cover. The first one is to do with thinking. So if thinking can be 90% negative, surely if we can take control of it, because a lot of those thoughts that we have, which may be negative, we're having them unconsciously. We don't even realize how negatively we are thinking. So if we can direct our focus to things we want instead of what we don't want, then that can have a massive impact on performance. So for example, let's start off with the big picture. Why do we play football? Why do we love the game? That's a great question to ask ourselves, players to ask themselves as they look forward to a game. My friend Malcolm Cook was talking before about Gianfranco Zola, and part of his sort of match preparation was to sit in the dressing room in a quiet place and think about how he fell in love with the game back in Italy when he was growing up. So, just a great way to connect with why you play the game, your passion for it. And then there's more specific things like, how do I want to play today? How do I want to feel? How much energy do I want? What do I want my first touch to be like? My first pass, my first tackle, my first shot, cross. All aspects of the game, you can zoom in and say, what do I want? Instead of, what do I not want? I know for me, when I was feeling good, I'd be focused on what I was going to do with the ball. When I wasn't feeling good, I would be asking myself, how am I going to get this ball under control? What if I have a bad touch? I knew when I was feeling great, I wasn't even thinking about having a good touch. I was thinking about what am I going to do with the ball when I get it, because I was so clear. I just assumed that I was going to be able to control it and pass it and move it the way I wanted to. So that gives you an idea of what you can do when you focus on what you want. Another thing you can focus on, another great question to ask yourself, you notice all these are questions. So questions are a great way of directing your attention towards positive things, is what can we put into practice in this match, or what can I put into practice that we've been working on in training this week? So that's another great question you can ask yourself as a player. Okay, so let's move on to what you can do with your body. I'm going to tell you a quick story about Swansea City on their, as they were on the journey to the Premier League. Brendan Rodgers came in, took them all the way into the playoffs. They got to the final at Wembley against Reading. One of the things they did in their preparation was they looked at physical preparation, so what they do with their body. So Brendan asked the players, how do we want to be at every stage of the match, including just before the match? Okay, so he asked the players, and it was Fabio Borini that came up with, well, we all want to be in the tunnel, standing up straight, chests out, looking forward. And if you watch a rerun of that game, you'll see that all the Swansea City players in a pretty straight line, not a perfect line, but they're all in sync. They're all looking forward. They've all got their heads up, and they looked like a real team. They looked like they were ready. And as they walked out onto the pitch, they were moving as if they were ready. So when Brendan explained that process to me and what they did, it made sense to me, because it's something I've done with players on an individual level. You can see it's no surprise the way Swansea City started the game. They went 3-0 up, had a little bit of a wobble in the middle, but came back to win convincingly in the end again. So that can give you an idea of the impact you can have when you focus on good physical preparation. So physical preparation can start, again, just like, in terms of asking questions and directing your thoughts, the way you're going to move your body, what you're going to focus on, where's your head going to be looking. So for example, your eyes going to be looking, sorry. So for example, I would guess that, any player watching this, or any parent watching this and thinking about their son or daughter for that matter, you would probably realise that when you're on top of your game, you're looking up, your head is very aware of what's going on around you. Whereas when you're not at your best, perhaps you're tending to be looking down. So that's why the Swansea players were looking up. So it's what you put your attention on as well, and what you do with your body in terms of where your eyes are looking and where you're putting your attention. So that brings us on to the last one, which is to do with what you say to yourself. So like I said, one of the parents said to me before, he said, if I could just find that switch to switch him on. And I actually love that phrase. It's quite a well-used phrase in football. Switch on. Are we switched on as a team? Am I switched on as an individual? So that can be like a trigger phrase. Switch on, or I'm up for it, or I'm ready. So I encourage the players to go away and come up with a number of trigger words that can help them get into that state where they're able to access all of the resources that they've already got, so they can bring out the best in themselves when they really need to. So hope that's been useful. Have a great new year and speak to you soon. Cheers, bye.